Today it's Sunday and I'm not shaved, at least not in the face. Today I would like to show you, beautiful ladies, something which I found out to be very important when playing at loud volumes, so to speak, in a live situation. It's also very helpful in a studio application, but in a live situation this can save your ass, really. And yeah, the thing I would like to show you is a multi-band compression on high gain guitars. It's also important on clean guitars, but of course we're here for the high gains. So for that purpose, let me open up my AxeFx 3 editor. It's here, and as you can see, this is my effects chain, and it's a high gain tone. And let me switch to my rhythm C. It's a tone match, which I did with the Archetype Petrucci binaural DSP. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically you can match the tone by using an amp model which has similar amount of gain. And here I'm using the Atomica High model for that, and the result is an IR which you can load into the cap block here. That's what I did, and quite happy with the result. In fact, that is also the tone which I use mostly for recording nowadays. But there's something which I discovered when playing live, especially when you're playing in the lower regions. So it seems to be prominent on the A string. There's a huge bump around the lower mids if you're playing here, or also if you're playing a B and A. Also on the E string. But I don't know if you can see it here. I don't know if they have somewhere a graphical display of the frequencies like you have in Cubase. I think they had it here, but I didn't use it very often, so graphic EQ, no. I don't know. Anyway. But I checked in my mixing console, and there you could see that it's around the lower mids, maybe the 200 until 400 Hertz, for those of you who are not familiar with these frequencies. And what I usually do is I apply a multi-band compression. What you can also do in the AxeFx here is something which I explained to you in another video, is you can set here controllers that these frequencies will be reduced when playing lower notes. So it's a pitch sensitive controller, so to speak. But I like these frequencies, the lower mids, especially when playing highs, so to fatten up the tone, the notes. So as you can see, when I'm playing high notes, these faders go up. So it's a little bit more, the notes are a little bit more fat. So what I did is I'm applying a multi-band compressor, and I'm addressing the frequency range of the lower mids. So in this case, it's this mid band here, which I'm using, and it goes from 86 Hertz to 467 Hertz in that case. As you may know, maybe the standard tuning, the A note is around 440 Hertz, maybe. It has something to do with that. But what you want to do with the multiband compressor is you would like to react on different bands of the frequency range in a different way. So in this case, it should only react in this band. So between 86 and 467 Hertz in this case. set that randomly, of course, a little bit, but usually the lower mids is something which I refer to from 200 Hertz to maybe 400 Hertz, but I went down a little bit more here. And for those of you who are not familiar with compressors, it's a little bit, you have to understand how these things work. So this is basically, you have 3 compressors for different ranges of the frequency. But they all work as a compressor. So you have your threshold, which is the most important in my opinion. And because these compressors, they are, I call them dynamic effects, so they are reacting to your playing. For example, if you have a static effect like an EQ, it's just raising maybe some frequencies about 2 dB if you set it like that, and it does it always, so independently of what you're playing. But here, if you are playing a little bit louder, so in fact, if your signal is louder than the threshold you're setting, then it will start to work. But if your signal is not that strong, that is not above the threshold, it will not do anything. So usually I don't reach the 0 dB, so if you set it to 0 dB, the compressor doesn't do anything. I don't know if it translates in the video, but now you can hear maybe these lower mids really prominent. And especially when you're playing loud volumes, these frequencies are ringing and annoying. So first thing you have to do is to set the threshold to the point where it should start to work. So if you're playing some chugs, reduce it a little bit. Maybe set it to minus 38 dB. As you can see, now it's reacting, and really drastically, so you don't hear much of that low mids. How much it's affecting your or reducing these frequencies, it's set with the ratio. So yeah, I set it here somewhere in the middle. You can experiment with that. As you can see here, it's reducing these frequencies drastically, but also when I'm playing high notes, it's also reducing these frequencies. And I personally would like to remove these frequencies when they are too much, so when chugging, but not when playing open chords like that. So it's a little bit too far. So let's go up, maybe to minus 24 dB. Let's try that. Playing an open chord. It's not doing anything. Playing a chug. Now it's working, as you can see. So that seems to be the right threshold for my purpose. I'm playing leads. It shouldn't move, shouldn't do anything. Here's maybe around the A, a little bit. So maybe we can raise it a little bit more. And also, if we raise the ratio, it's reducing it a little bit more. The other important things here are, of course, the crossover frequencies. You have to set them correctly, but that is only the case if you're using a multiband compressor. If you're using a usual compressor, it's just taking the whole signal, whole frequency range. But you have the attack and the release. And if you, in this case, you can see here the milliseconds. If you want to react this thing that this thing reacts very fast, you could set it maybe to 1 millisecond. And that is usually something which would make sense in that case. Because, of course, you want to have this immediately. You don't want some flubbiness for maybe a couple of milliseconds and then. But you can also set a little bit higher. I think it doesn't do that much of a difference here. Of course, if you set it to 60 milliseconds, it may not work. But I recommend in this setting to set it really a fast attack. And also the release is something which you can set, well, a little bit not that high. The release is usually the time that it takes until your signal or until this compression is released. And here you want maybe also a release time which is not that long. Because sometimes you're playing something chugs here, but then suddenly other notes which are coming here where it should not be compressed. But of course in this range here with milliseconds, it's doesn't do anything, I think, because you don't play that fast. But maybe if you set it about 1 second, you can see it's compressed the whole time here, and that is not what you want. When you're playing with high notes, usually you don't want it to be compressed. So yeah, don't set it too long here, would be my advice. What you can also do is you can raise the overall level here, but that is something which I don't do when I'm using it in that purpose, because what I want to do is I want to be these frequencies to be reduced when they're too much. But if you were heavily compressing the whole time, which I didn't do here, then maybe you can use this level to boost the overall frequencies, the frequencies a little bit more. So let's say maybe you are compressing, so that is always at least minus 3 dB compressed, and in some cases more, but then you can boost this about 3 dB. But I don't need it here. So these are the frequencies which seem to cause problems when playing live, at least for with my high gain guitar tone. Of course, if you're running into feedbacks, or if you have too much bass frequencies below maybe 100 Hertz, that can also cause problems. But what I usually do is I'm applying a low cut. I don't know if I did it here. You can see this is very low because I'm using this sound mostly for recording, but well, I would set the low cut usually about 50 or 60 Hertz, but this depends on the slope you are choosing. So you have to try out. I always tell people that maybe they can raise the low cut as far as they don't hear a difference. I'm playing leads at least. And as soon as it's affecting the tone, then it's maybe too high, or it's maybe, yeah, you have to listen closely. And also with the highs, usually I cut the highs. Of course, it also depends on the slope, but when playing live, for example, I'm using the Mole G300 when playing live. And there this thing has a, well, very unique slopes implemented, I think. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound like they have the correct frequencies. For example, I'm using a high cut about 10K, which is somewhere with some region which you don't hear usually. But as soon as I set it down to 9.2K or something, I can hear a difference in the mower, and it's a huge difference. And usually in the AxeFx I tended to set it around maybe 6K or something, playing live. But with the mower, this sound I would get when I set it at maybe 9K or 10K. So yeah, use your ears when you're setting high and low cuts, because I think all the modeling units or all the effect processors, they have implemented different slopes here. Of course, in the AxeFx you can change the slopes. And that is also something which is, of course, important for the multiband compressor, because here you have also these crossover frequencies. And here you have in the advanced panel the crossover slope. If you set it maybe to 12 dB, it's a little bit softer. So I don't know if you can hear a difference. But here I set it rather to a higher value, because I want to have exactly the lower mid frequencies to be reduced. And of course, what you can also do is, if you have other frequencies which are annoying, and some are, some cases, it's not the case now with this tone, but maybe with clean tones, might be that there are some higher frequencies which you would like to reduce. You can do the same thing. In that case, maybe I would use this band and set this here maybe to, I can try it, maybe to 400 Hertz. Set our threshold, where was it? 21, minus 21. And set our ratio. Set the release time, set the attack time. So, and then maybe we can use this band here for something in the mids, which I would now not address. We can use this band for the highs, maybe above, let's say 3K. And let's see, now this band is addressing our lower mids, chugging. I'm playing leads, it's not doing anything, I'm playing chords also. But we want to use this for the highs. So let's see, where do we have some highs? Maybe I'm playing higher notes. We have a little bit scratchiness. So now it's starting here, as you can see. Now it's always working. Seems to be a little bit hard here to find the right amount. The right threshold. Maybe we can set it a little bit higher. And set the threshold higher. So as you can see here, we should set the release time also faster. When playing chords, it's still working a little bit, but not that much. But when playing higher notes, it's reducing these higher frequencies. You can use this to fatten up the notes a little bit when playing in a higher position. But for me personally, I didn't use this for the higher frequencies that much. Maybe for clean tones it's more important. You can try out that. I don't know if we have a clean tone in this patch. Now somehow it reset the. Okay, I was here on the channel B. So let's go there. As you can see, maybe here, it's way more important here. Or I'm playing higher And if you're picking fast, a little bit harder, then it's suddenly starting to compress the highs. And that can be also very helpful in a live situation, because maybe if you're playing something like that, could pierce the ears of the listener at loud volumes. So that is a very powerful tool, and unfortunately the cheaper modeling units, they don't have multiband compressors. Maybe they don't have enough processing power, because I assume it takes maybe quite a little bit. The AxeFx has it, and I'd recommend to use it. When I'm playing live with my Mower G300, I usually use a multiband compressor for my mixing console, the Behringer X32. It's also very powerful, and it also has a nice screen where you can see the frequencies which are causing problems. But yeah, it works. Of course, the principle is the same, like the multiband compressor here. And if you're playing high-end guitars and you are playing live at loud volumes, I definitely recommend to multiband compress the signal a little bit. Also, you should maybe be careful that it doesn't, it's not active all the time. So if you set the threshold too low, then it's always working, and then you don't have your desired effect, because then you end up raising the some frequencies with an EQ, and what you want is maybe you would like to cut off the peaks in certain frequency bands. So I hope this helps you, and I hope I explained it correctly. Please post your comments below. Subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.